lieu of the game night?
If I have the day off.
Yeah, so
You better, you son of a bitch.
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I had to give 30-day notice when I leave an apartment. So I owe halfway into the month. So I'm working.
Shit. If you just leave, what are they gonna do?
Well, it's also in my mom's name, and I may not get along with my mom, but I also don't want to give her debt because, like, I left the place and give her a tax
fuck all that.
Or credit hit.
Nah, fuck all that.
With all the shit she put you through, well, fuck her credit.
Anyway, we're live now, so. But, fuck all that shit. Anyway, welcome, guys and gals, to another exciting day. Another exciting trip into the Wildlands. I mean, I could do a Wilds tie-in, and nobody would even notice that it's just not something I intentionally created, or something I intentionally did here. Matt, as much as I love hearing the sound of frying pans, could you mute?
Oh, sorry.
You're all good.
It's such a wild concept. It really landed.
Fuck you in your whole face. Anyway, guys and gals, so
I'm just upset because my face is more fuckable than his.
Whatever.
Oh my god.
I got way more skills at it than you do.
Bitch, you ain't seen what I can do with my tongue.
I mean, that's fair both ways, to be honest. So, at any rate, now that I am thoroughly demonetized, allow me to do some shilling for something.
Monetized?
No, we're not.
The moment I stepped into your game.
But allow me to do some shilling for a game that's not even mine. First things first is I want to talk a little briefly about the Valor system, the heroic role-play system. For those of you who have never heard of it, I discovered it at SakuraCon this 2023, and it is fantastic. I love it. It's really simple. It's really easy to get into. To explain it the way that it was explained to me, this is Anime, the TTRPG. It has its own brand, its own system. It's a D10 system, and it uses one D10. One die. All you need is a D10, just one. And you can play this game. First of all, I have hundreds of D10s. Actually, I think it's specifically 200. Now that I'm sitting here actually thinking about it, how many D10s do I actually have? Yep, 260. Also, yes, I have an accurate count of my dice hoard, which is 1,824 dice. One of which is a D10, one of which is a D30. Shut your mouth. Actually, hilariously,
because you can't say you're a dice dragon or a true dice goblin unless you know exactly what is in your hoard.
I'm Dice Smaug. And I don't even sell dice for a living. Though if I sold dice for a living, I'd be in debt. Because I'd be keeping more dice than I'd be selling. But the Valor system is Anime, the TTRPG. Basically, if you want to do it, you can. It's all about your stats. Much like in Fallout, it has a stat point system, and the stats will really define kind of what you do. You are in charge of your own skills. It does have skills in the book that are very useful to kind of give you your own flavor or to use as inspiration, but you can create your own. Also, you can create all of your techniques, from even throwing a punch to something like the Kaioken or Jajanken or even the Gungam pistol. All of that shit can be made, however, it is 100% made by you, the player. Techniques will have their own rules for how to make them, but 100% of the techniques that your character has are yours to create, command, and control. They're fantastic. They use a core, and the core explains kind of what it does. Damage, buff, weaken, heal, all kinds of shit. I am using this system, the Valor system, for a pair of games. And already, with very minor tweaking, and mostly just to character concept creation, that's not even part of the book itself. For those of you who like the 20 question system from the 5 rings, I highly recommend implementing that in way more than just 5 rings. Basically anywhere where RP is going to be the focus. But anyway, but with very minor tweaking and very minor editing, I have fit this system to a number of games and a number of ideas. First of which is, for those of you who are a fan of Michael Scott and his Secrets of the Immortal Nicholas Flamel series, you can do this system and use that world. Or if you're a fan of Rick Riordan or anything he's written, you can use Valor to do a Percy Jackson game, which is exactly what I am doing. I have one paid and one not paid, and this system already is proving to be fantastic for doing just that. Or if you just want to play the next great isekai anime and want to play it as a tabletop, go ahead. Hell, if you want to play Overlord and have your own PC in there, Valor is the way to go, baby. All hail the Sorcerer King. But that being said, it is a fantastic system. It is on Drive-Thru RPG for $25. Please go there, show them some love. They are fantastic. And if you do buy it, you will get access to their Discord channel where you can see people who are running games. You can join the discussion. You can see the new stuff that's going to come out. They even have a module called Best in Class for $15. It is exactly what it sounds like. Also, the Best in Class module, as you can see, has a lot of different fantasy races on the screen and on the cover art. Guess what? You can be that furry. You can be that dwarf. You can be the elf. And it has no stat bonuses. So it's 100% RP. So you don't have to worry about it. And you can be whatever you want without worrying about being unoptimized.
You're forgetting another very important thing to all of this, though. I need everyone to realize this. Every one of you that has grown up watching these animes and such, who has seen them call out their signature attacks, Gum Gum Pistol, okay, Kaioken, any of that. This system rewards you for being an over-the-top nuthead and calling out your attacks.
Yes, it does, through the Valor system, which I will let you discover in this book. I don't want to give it away, but yes, if you want to call out a Kamehameha, you're going to get a mechanical advantage for doing so. So go, look it up, have some fun with it. I know I'm having fun with it, and I know that, so far, even in just character creation, both sets of groups are having a ton of fun with it and realizing the true potential that they can have. And lastly, of course, I'm shilling myself because I'm a shameless whore. There's nothing wrong with that.
And he says we're the ones getting him demonetized. God damn.
I mean, I never said I wasn't getting myself demonetized. I'm just saying that you all don't help. But anyway.
Motherfucker, I have a lewd tuber as a tag for a reason.
As we know. At any rate, you can support if you like this kind of content, or if you like my content, as well as subscribing to my YouTube or following me on Twitch. And I may start streaming on Kick, depending. We'll see. But you can also join my Patreon, where I have various different offers and options for various different homebrew content that I create. From the lowly Spellkeeper for $3 a month, all the way to the mighty DM tier, where you will get a personalized item created by me for use in your homebrew campaigns. Also, my most popular right now is the Species Collector. 75% of my patrons are Species Collectors. For $15 a month, you get access to homebrew items, monsters, and of course, spells and species. Basically, your playable quote-unquote races. I still hate that races is the adjective is the noun they chose, but whatever. Of course, there's options in between, spanning from a $3 level all the way to a $25 level in about $5 increments, except for Spellkeeper, which is $3. But good news is that within the next couple of weeks, I will be adding a Discord that my patrons will get exclusive access to. There, they will be able to vote on the various things I create. They will also get a first taste of what I am creating and why I'm creating it. Or they will even be able to tell me, hey, we want to see these kinds of things. And I will go, okay, and do it. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I certainly look forward to it, and I hope you all do too. I'm also going to start posting DM advice on my Patreon, and of course, on my Patreon, and of course, my patrons will have full access to it. I may eventually, after some months, post it on my YouTube, but there is no guarantee of that. So if you'd like to learn how I run games or how I like to run games and the thought process behind them, please consider going and supporting me on Patreon at PAX Professional DM Services. Of course, with the www.patreon.com/. And now, without further ado, the shilling out of the way, the spreading of the great games long done, we now find ourselves cutting through the wilds and the wastelands and the waters of Auria, where music is literally magic. Wow, that's a really good catchphrase, and I just came up with that on the top of my head. Someone write that down!
Add it to the quotes.
Please! At any rate. So, when last we left off...
Pinkie Pie.
I mean, yeah, but shut up. Busy right now. When last we left off, our explorers? Interlopers? Adventurers.
Misfits. I think Misfits fits best.
Fair enough. Those goddamn meddlesome kids and their freaky dogs, too. No. But they were headed to the Pride Lands because they were going to help a young Leonin achieve his throne and save his kingdom from the gnolls! The gnolls!
And a usurper? Question mark.
Yes, of course, and a usurper. Because usurpers are bad. Usurpers are bad, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You can't allow usurpers to take what's yours, okay?
See, I just had. I'm pretty sure most people around here have seen Sword Art Online and Bridge. All I picture is just a giant lion man. We will save my family.
Oh my god.
So, to keep it a $1.20, I have never seen any of Sword Art Online Abridged.
Oh my god, it's
Oh.
so good.
So they make one of the characters that was kind of just there to be a character. They get slaughtered. They make him into into an NPC that someone is dragging around all of these quest NPCs that have to follow him that fight with you.
Mm.
And
It's
every time he pops up, it's "We save my family."
Hmm.
It's fucking hilarious.
In context.
You should also totally watch it because there is a direct quote in there that you have heard me say that that I know you appreciate.
Fair enough. But, as our party arrived at what they thought was just a barren wasteland, they discover that there's actually a beautiful, vibrant oasis hidden by deep fog and mists. Not the deadly, horrible mists of the Scourged Swamp, of course. But a protective mists that keep the oasis safe. All in all, it's a nice place. You know, it's got comfy stuff, and a small little village full of various le peoples. And as you are escorted down, or some of you stumbled your way in, some of you had to be escorted by meeting the lion himself. Leon. Leon the lion. And for those of you who need to see him again, Leon. He kind of badass looking. I really dig this art. It's great art. Again, I claim no credit for any of the art.
You can call me Garlic and run me along his abs.
Mason, the most down bad person here. I should put that on your Discord little video screen. Is just somehow overlay most down bad right at the bottom.
I'm okay with that. Fucking just have something that's always pointing to me that says, "Motherfucker that's so thirsty he makes the fucking Sahara look moist."
Jesus. It's okay, we'd all have a tagline like that. At any rate, so, Leon has brought you into the mists and into the village in order to allow you to meet back up and rest. Because every good heroes need rest before they go heroing. After all, how else are you supposed to hero if you don't get your necessary hero 6 hours? I don't know. But, in so doing, he's brought the two groups together who can see each other over the distance of the oasis. Which, the oasis is a rather deep, it's almost like what would happen if a copper mine, like an open-air copper mine, were to be inhabited by lush greens, a big river, well, a big waterfall leading down into a big pool of water, and have, like, tiers. Basically, imagine the Colosseum in the future where it's overgrown by nature once again. That might be a good
Yeah.
description. But at the bottom, next to the pool, is a small little village with very simple huts and houses, most of which are made with giant palm leaves, or simple wooden sides. Although, to be honest, as you're looking around, most of the people here seem to sleep in giant hammocks made of leaves and whatnot. Some use massive rope-like items that they've woven together. Leon guides, I believe it was Auria and who was the other one?
Tobias?
Tobias was the other one that got lost in
Yes. Auria and Tobias. And then it seems that Gobsy, oh my fucking god, Tyrdor, and the others, along with the cart, are led down. Basically, they follow the trail, and we're able to... Oh, and of course Yuki. Because Yuki just followed her nose, like a certain, bird.
I'm offended. There's no bird that smells anything.
Anyway.
You can play this game.
However, as you all reach the edge of the little township, the villagers of which are a very eclectic bunch. You see a boar, just a boar walking around on 2 legs. You see a couple of meerkat people. You see a couple of mouse people. You see a couple of bird people. They're mostly the smaller birds, though. Nothing very regal. And of course, you do hear and see, you do hear the sounds of, wild animals. For the first time, actual animals. You can hear lesser birds just kind of twittering in the trees. You can see many an insect, which is not unusual for the Wildlands, but not all insect life is, as we understand it in our world. In fact, in the Wildlands, it seems that most things were able to adapt to a near human-like state. Though it appears there are some things that did not. How's that quote from Narnia, the second Narnia movie, go? You get treated like a dumb animal long enough, eventually that's what you become?
Sounds alright.
Said by Peter Dinklage before he was the most famous, of actors in the world. Tyrion for king. That's all I'm saying. But anyway. And as you arrive, Leon kind of looks to you, to the newbies. Ah, welcome guests. You must be friends with these two, he says, gesturing to Auria and Tobias.
Yes, that would be our group.
Gobsy waves.
And he nods his head. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintances. I am Leon. Welcome to the Oasis. The place where all weary travelers, orphaned lost ones, and outcasts can find a refuge.
I see. I see.
So are the wild rats for eating and not the rat folk, correct?
That is technically true.
Sage nods.
Though it would be kind of you to not consume the wild rats in front of rat or mouse folk.
Oh,
I will keep that in mind, especially in front of children.
Indeed. You see a couple of the meerkat folk and a couple of the mouse folk look around nervously. If you will pardon my curiosity, we will, of course, make a meal ready for the evening, but I must ask, you come in peace, right? I don't have to fight in here?
If we didn't come in peace, others would probably already be in pieces.
He looks to Yuki, looks to Altera, looks to Teardor, and then looks to Oliver. And then just nods. I suppose that's fair. Well, welcome. So long as you come in peace, you are welcome amongst the outcasts of the Pride Lands. Well, technically, of the Great Plains, even.
Yay, I'm still an outcast even here. I don't have to change who I am.
Good. I'm glad you find it so amenable. A few of our residents had trouble adjusting at first, but I think for the most part we get along well. After all, it is very important. The very first elder of Oasis even had a saying back when he ran this place.
what can I say? We at times find comfort in unlikely places.
Indeed. And, if you happen to, know of anyone else who is looking for a place to belong, we will happily take them. Though, so long as they are peaceful, of course. We don't particularly prefer violence, and, well, and he kind of gestures, and you see that most of these people would not be able to handle much confrontation or conflict. Most of them would get eaten, or some of them would just get outright slaughtered. All in all, it's just, they're weak. And it's very clear that only that Leon and the Mists are the only thing that are keeping these people safe.
I believe you could actually use some people here that are a bit more adept at fighting. Or at least at keeping an eye out. If you had people that were like me and were good at scouting or getting behind enemy lines, they could always tell you when you need to move your people. Or you could always have people like my mother who would say, I don't have to outrun you, I don't have to outrun the thing, I just have to outrun you. Then there are also people like my dad who said, but yeah, then I can stab the thing that our friend's been tripped up on. Oh.
As you watch these, as you say this, the little cats that are following Yuki swarm over Leon, and he just nods, seeming to ignore them, but also entertaining them at the same time, almost as if he's used to having children just kind of climb around on him.
You must be used to being called daddy.
Ha! Afraid not. Not many Leonin children in these parts of the world, but children and I have always gotten along.
I don't remember saying they had to be Leonin.
Well, fair enough, I suppose. Though I haven't had any cubs of my own. I was supposed to marry a long time ago in another life. But, well, you gotta put your past behind you. And when the world turns its back on you, you turn your back on it.
Well, sometimes you just gotta dig a little deeper.
He tilts his head.
It's a song.
I haven't heard it. But
It's a good one. It's about finding who you are and making it work.
good advice. He then leads you all towards a large, almost like bonfire area. You can see lots of seats made of tree stumps, rocks, mud that has been hardened into like a brick-like substance. And he sits down in the only thing that could be called a chair. It's like made of stone and wood. And as he's walking, he answers all the little kitten's questions. The rest of the people, seeing Leon relax, start to relax themselves, and it's very clear that they feel at peace. However, as you all arrive at the campfire, and the citizens start to go about preparing what looks like a meal of some kind. They have brought out large insects, some of which are as big as some of the smaller cats. Some of which, one or two of which, are as big as Oliver. As well as various berries and other plant and other fruit and plant life that is edible, and they begin to prepare it. As they work, he kind of looks at all of you. So, what has brought you to the Pridelands and to Oasis, if I might ask?
Yuki will step forth. I have come for trade. And we do have an ulterior motive, of course.
Oh, do we now?
Yes. The conflict?
I'm afraid I do not know of what you are referring to.
Well, I believe there was a young man wishing to become king.
There are many who wish to become kings in this land, though many kings do not survive very long.
Yuki's kind of hesitant to give away her, all the info as, secretive cat.
As Altera starts pecking it into some insects. The merchant does have a lot of wisdom and should share as much as possible. But the main of it is that we are looking for someone that needs help. Someone much like you. Another of your kind. Though I doubt as well sculpted.
And what do they say about this one of my kind?
I have not heard much. Merely that they war with a certain, I think they call them gnolls in this setting, right? They're not just hyena people.
Correct, they're gnolls.
Okay, yeah. Warring with gnolls.
Many a sentient race would war with them. Too many of them can be a plague on any one land. It is when they get together that they become a mighty pestilence on the world.
I gather that you're fairly isolated in here, then.
As isolated as the mists require to protect this place. And I only venture out when, evil, or those with ill intent toward this place, balk at the borders.
Loud crunching noises from Altera as they start to dig into a big bug.
You already know what I'm going to say about it.
Yep.
But presently And who did you hear this tale of this Leonin from?
Oh, it's been a bit. What was her name? Our lioness from the other tribe.
Serafi Thornpaw.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there it is. I got the handout again. We heard this from Serafi Thornpaw.
You see a kind of look cross over his face. I see. And has she told you of what this young lion did?
No, in fact, I was gathering that there was more to this.
Indeed. It is through his actions that the king, or former king of the Pridelands, the former ruler of the Great Main, was brought low. He was but a child when it happened, and yet that single event caused a knock upon the rest of the world. The young prince, as he was, went into places and lands he was told to avoid. The Riverfang Knolls, who controlled the cross-section between the Pridelands and the Thornlands. They are merciless to trespassers, and it was he who went there. The young prince thought he was wiser than his old and very wise father. However, what he could not have known, and what he did not know until later, many years later, was that the Riverfang, had made an alliance with who is now known as the Usurper, in order to be rid of both the young prince and his father. Getting rid of both would secure the Usurper the lands.
An interesting story that has many open ends.
One open end is that the plan to kill the boy failed, but only just. The father arrived and slew dozens of the Riverfang tribe. Yet, the usurper took advantage of the battle and used an opening to end the great king's life. In so doing, he painted the young prince in the blood of his father. And then, of course, gave the prince a head start. What he didn't expect was that the prince would jump into the river, take it as close to the Pridelands as he could, and then, of course, make his way away. Running far away. Running for help. Running for anyone who might be of aid. And yet, the prince never returned to the Pridelands. Too ashamed at getting his own lordly father killed. If that is the prince you are all hoping to find, I am afraid he is better off dead.
At least according to Serafi, he is probably still around.
Do you know why many rogues keep a knife hidden in different... have at least too many knives hidden in different locations on their body?
He looks to you, curious.
There's many reasons, of course. The most common is, well, you have another blade. But the ones that you don't see coming tend to be the ones that kill. It sounds like if a prince were to make a return for his kingdom, well, if they believe he ran, I believe that there'd be some complacency with a usurper. And sometimes the best blade is the hidden one. But that's just idle chit-chat.
He kind of shrugs. I'm afraid I do not know much about the way of roguery. I am what is known in these lands as a... Oh, what would you call it? In our tongue, we call it an honor warrior.
Barbarian?
No. You would know it as paladin, I think. Is the human mortal word for it. We call it honor warriors.
Oh. One who serves a higher purpose.
And swears oath to a higher mystery, yes. I have taken the oath of the crownship. That is why I cannot serve the usurper. He is not worthy of the crown that he stole or wears. But it is also why I cannot leave these lands. Because I am bound to them as tightly as any chain that you care to ensnare upon me.
Does this mist ever seem to extend past its limits when you go out?
No. This mist seems to hold itself, even if I am not here. Though, to be honest, it seems to have grown larger since I came all these years ago. Many of the upper levels, and he does gesture up to when you guys first entered, were not even in the mists a few years ago.
It sounds like a growing, what would you people call it? A growing pride.
I believe it is a reaction, no? The world outside, even your borders, are getting more and more dangerous.
I am sure they are. With the usurper in the Pride Lands, the Great Plains and the Great Prides of the Leonin are not united. They cannot keep the peace as they once did in ancient times. When the Great King sat on his stone throne, he ruled over the Great Plains, all the way from the forests of the east to the lakes of the west, and all the way to the mountains of wolves and the desert mountains of the serpents.
And at the mention of wolves, Yuki's face, visibly falls. There may not be very many wolves left. If the rumors are true.
You'll have to pardon, I have not heard of these rumors.
A new enemy. One from the ocean. I think we know them as humans, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. I was just clarifying. They are human.
Human.
We seen a young boy recently. One of the few survivors.
Do you mean the naked ones?
Yuki actually, I'm honestly not sure if Yuki would know what a human looks like. I don't think so.
The Fairless Apes.
You could actually roll an intelligence check here.
Yeah, because this is like a fairly recent development. Because it depends if there's anything back home, but Yuki's pretty young too. So, let's give this a shot.
I would assume Altera has killed a good few of them during wartime.
Oh, you know of humans because, again, you are from the nest, and they landed on your fucking shores.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Hairless Apes.
I had to find that.
Along with orcs and these underworlders, who are no longer welcome. So, Yuki, you know Junko is odd. She has hair, she has fur, but it's only in very certain places. You would also know that many kitsune come in this kind of shape. This almost hairless, almost diseased-looking shape. Though they seem to revel in their appearance, though why you would not understand. Maybe he means something like them?
Yuki will throw that word out there, even though these guys probably. So it may be like the kitsune, a fox, a hairless fox.
I have not met any of these hairless foxes. But I have been told by my father of an ancient time that when the kings ruled on the stone throne and kept the Great Plains united, that they once did so in order to battle an ancient enemy from long, long before even the trees were new. And they called these creatures by many names. But the one thing that they were hairless and inventive, very dangerous. He said it was the grace of the gods that they are no longer around. And that if they were, they would be the plague and pestilence that they were back then. Apparently this was a secret passed down amongst the elders of the great tribes.
I see. Well, be that as it may, I believe the mist, as you call it, is reacting to that. The lands around you are falling apart, my friend. It's only a matter of time before such troubles finds its way here.
I cannot say that I understand all this. I have never been a mystic. I've only sworn an oath to uphold the crown, the mane and mantle of lordship and leadership. But I have no lord or leader to follow, and I am unworthy to be one.
I disagree. And Yuki motions to, this little band of outcasts. You have become a lord by might. Such a thing exists back home, though it's an outdated practice. You are a lord in practice. And you have a responsibility to these people. Worthiness is irrelevant. Yuki's kind of like, you see her kind of stand up firm, and she seems to have grown a few inches, is what it kind of looks like. Her bearing is very stout, very direct.
And he looks to them. And he looks to those around and seems to think on that, but he doesn't say anything. Presently, though, one of the individuals arrives and kind of holds up a cup, though it's more like a bowl full of a dark fruit-smelling liquid. And he takes a drink, a very deep drink from it. I have heard what you have said, and there is some wisdom there. But alas, these outcasts came here because they had nothing better, and no one better. I am reasonably certain that there are better out there than I.
And yet they are here. And Yuki just shrugs. I do, however, Or I may, however, have an option. And Yuki's gonna draw up, a little bit of information. She's going to give him the directions to the wall. And, ooh, this is a tough one. I'm gonna send you a quick DM.
Alright.
On Discord, because,
Ooh.
yeah, this is important.
I'm gonna continue eating a sandwich.
Okay.
Is that in real life or in game?
No, Tyrador's just gonna continue eating
Why not
every
both?
possible allowed sandwich.
Ah,
With like
Cat
crunchy
fuck
lettuce.
Minotaur.
Because I believe Yuki can do that.
She certainly can.
Okay. So, because it's yeah, for herself.
Yep. And he looks at it.
And
Does
then Yuki puts a hand to her lip, kind of, but I am a mere seller of scent.
well, he looks it over and he, rolls up the parchment and tucks it away. I will make it known to those who wish to travel, should they do so. But until such time as the Wildlands are safe, I doubt any will make a journey like that.
Of course. But if everything becomes too unsafe, they may not have a choice. It is at least an option.
There is truth in this. Well, I will keep this in mind. And with that, food is continued to be served. You can all eat your fill. For those of you who do not partake of insects, there are plenty of non-insect food, though no non-sentient animals are served. Mostly the insects, the berries, and vegetables. You notice that Leo eats many of the insects. Probably would need to, given his physique and his stature, as he is of a height with Tyrador, and Tyrador and him are the tallest and biggest things in this glade.
Ha! Yuki, kind of just tucking into her portion of the meal. Well, at least we have 2 landmarks should we need them.
Ha!
I am resisting a joke. But it's in poor taste.
I disagree. These insects are quite delicious.
With that, though, as you guys eat your meal, there's lively conversation. You learn that these townsfolk, these outcasts, many of them lost family to this, that, or the other. Though the younger ones, the children, the few near children age individuals you would see, mostly of mouse folk, have all lost family to the roving Knoll tribes. And they identify 6 total tribes, however 3 of them are greater than the others. There's the Bone Laughers, there's the Scrap Munchers, and then of course there's the Vicious Claws. These 3 tribes of Gnolls seem to be the biggest and seem to be the ones in charge. The other 3 tribes, while no less a problem, are not quite as well organized and seem to be kind of just whipped around by these 3 greater tribes. The 3 lesser tribes are the Riverfang, who you have learned about already, the plains hunters, and the rock breakers. And these tribes, all in all, are just pests. Just purely and simply, they're pests. And it seems like the usurper uses the 3 leader tribes to kind of enforce his will over all the other things.
So Yuki, as she's listening to all this, her face is kind of fallen a little bit. She's a little bit kind of, I would say, in a dark mood as she's pondering all this. Her cats, however, are constantly trying to cheer her up by, like, offering her things that they found on the dinner table. Because being cats.
Yeah.
Oh, I found this pretty flower. Oh, I found this thing. And they're trying their best to cheer her up, but whatever's on her mind has really got her focused.
Sure. What does everyone else do during this dinner?
Are you kidding me? I'm gonna make a giant sandwich.
If I put a bug between another bug and another bug, it's...
Is there a bread?
There is not.
Is there a leaf?
There is. Banana leaves.
Hey, that's bread. That works. Wait, can I eat a banana leaf just straight up?
Technically, yes. You are a minotaur. You have flat grounding teeth.
Yeah, they're still rough to chew through with, but you know. Towards the end of Altera's meal, she's going to walk over by Leon and say, I've heard stories that princes, no matter how cowardly, always end up with a kingdom of their own. Some choose to wear a crown of thorns and torture themselves because they think they deserve it. And as she looks out at all the people, but those that see their worth still follow without question. I've never known a prince that wouldn't defend those that really need the defending. At least not a prince worth it. And then walk off and go to socialize and play with the little ones.
Oliver?
Oliver is gonna... Is there cheese?
No.
Damn. Oliver is gonna collect some fruits and perch up in a tree and munch on some fruits.
And munch on some fruit.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I'm just picturing like big, plump, juicy fruits, and all you're hearing is just that.
Oh.
Yep.
Yep.
With her big ol' owl eyes peering down. Yep.
Nice. I'd ask Gobsy, but it looks like Eric is still AFK. So, in the meantime, as the meal winds down, many of the adults take their offspring to various hammocks, or you see that mostly it's the ones with children who seem to have a house or hut of some description. Though you do notice that the meerkat folk, as well as the mouse folk, seem to enter into a burrow, and kind of just disappear beneath the earth. Insert the song reference here. But we can't play it because I'll get DMC'd into fucking outer space. Fucking copyrights. But anyway. Leon is the last one to leave. And he goes up to the uppermost ridge, where you can see that there are a series of hammocks between some of these palm trees. And he kind of spreads out in one of them. You also can see that the great sword, which also is a great sword, that he has, is at his side and kind of like leaning against one of the trees as a supporter. You can also see a smaller sword that he has and leans up there. One thing that you guys would all have been able to see about this sword is it is metal. It is like forged, though it's definitely like greater material than should be kind of expected for out here. But it is very interesting, all things considered. And he just goes up there to sleep. Meanwhile, as the rest of you get ready for your night, is anyone going to stay up and take watch, or are you all going to drift to sleep?
I'll take watch.
I'm going to trust what Leon said about the mist kind of guarding the area and sleep.
Okay. Yuki, Oliver?
I'll take a watch with Turner.
Okay. Yuki.
I was muted. That says a lot. I think Yuki in this case, being unable to sleep for other reasons. It's not so much that she's staying watch, it's just that whatever's on her mind is like really kind of bothering her. So she's gonna keep watch, so to speak, but kind of be distracted. And what Yuki's gonna do with her downtime, or what she's doing this, is a little bit of experimentation on some of the gobsy stuff and some other things.
Okay.
Yep.
What kind of experiment?
Oh, Yuki's trying to replicate it.
Ooh.
Yeah, she's like, okay, this material could absorb things. Gobsy seems to be able to heal, and it seems to, like you could put it back in yourself. Gobsy seems to be able to gain mass, and that's what she's mainly looking at right now.
Gosh,
That actually does remind me, before resting, I did need to extract what I could from that thorn.
Poisoner's kit, querying dexterity. And Yuki, I believe you have alchemy supplies, yeah?
Oh yeah, no, she's got expertise.
Querying intelligence. Cool beans!
Yeah, Yuki, just good.
So, Altera. Easy enough. You now have thorn venom. Very potent stuff.
How many vials of it would I have been able to get out of that?
Let's call it a flask, which in this game, flasks will be worth, call it 10 vials.
Okay, so... and we'll put that at 10.
In fact, Altera, if you would write down this quick math for me, it goes vial, then it goes flask, which is the equivalent of 10 vials. It goes skin, which a skin is worth 4 flasks, and then it takes...
Let me get up with it. Okay, so vial, and then you said flask is 10 vial.
Yep.
Then skin.
4 flasks.
Okay.
Small barrel is 5 skins.
Okay.
A barrel is 2 small barrels.
Okay.
And then a large barrel is 2.5 medium-sized barrels. Actually, fuck it. Make it 3 barrels.
3 small barrel? Or 3 regular barrels?
Yeah, large barrel equals 3 regular barrels.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
And if you could send that to me at some point in the next week or so.
Will do.
I need to add that to my notes. And my fingers are a little busy.
Damn, I didn't know you had company.
I don't. Nah, you'd hear them if I had company. But anyway,
I believe you could get them to shut up if they needed to.
again, but anyway, so, Terra. As everybody kind of beds down for the evening, and as everybody kind of, you finish your work, and and as you, are kind of doing your work, you don't notice how late it gets. Teodor and, Oliver, you're on watch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Both of you do not need to roll a perception check, because what you see is pretty kind of standard. Altera's working on whatever it is she normally works on. Yuki also seems to be working on something. And then Yuki seems to eventually kind of stop working on something. You don't know if she's resting or what, but she stops working. But what the two of you see, and what the two of you experience, is that this place feels serene. It feels peaceful. It's not a feeling that either of you are kind of used to experiencing, and it's certainly not a feeling that you expected to get somewhere that's right on the edge of like a war-torn kingdom. If you kind of get my meanings.
Mm-hmm.
But it's nice. Oliver, you can kind of feel the wilds here. You can feel that this is a place that, the great melody is protecting. And you can feel it through the thrum of the plants. You can feel it in the fact that there is simple life, as your druidic calling has learned to call it, as well as complex life. There's more and more, as time has gone on, your circle and you have observed simple life becoming the norm. Now, in much of the Wildlands, according to other druids of your calling, there are those being born simple creatures. In fact, it's actually a disease that's rampant in the nest right now, where the lesser citizenry are giving birth to offspring who cannot speak, who cannot think, who cannot ration or reason. And it's called the curse of simplicity amongst the educated. But you are discovering that this is actually becoming the norm. And it's starting to concern, not just the druids of the wild, but also the peoples of the nest. Because the concern is that maybe one day you'll all be like that. Now, there is a sect among the nest who is saying that this is how you used to be before the wild gods came, and that, maybe the wild gods need to come back. After all, no one has seen much of them, but that is partly the nest's fault. I don't know to which doctrine you subscribe. I think that's for you to kind of tell me, but you've definitely heard of the simple ones, who are those who believe that the curse of simplicity will only grow stronger as the wild gods are hiding or being slain, and their children are being slain by the nest. And then there are, of course, it's a plague. They call themselves the Plague Doctors. They believe they can cure it, but they have to kill the remaining wild gods, because they believe it is them causing them to... they believe it's them creating a curse or a plague to infect the nest, because they're the superiors. All in all, it's a cluster. But it's interesting. And as you are sitting here and thinking it over, you can feel that the wilds kind of protect this place and are definitely suffusing it, both simple life and complex life. And it's peaceful and at home here. You can hear the melody. Even in the nest, it has grown hard to hear the great melody. Or melody, excuse me. Melanie. Ha.
Hey, I mean, as long as she has a good voice.
I mean, she has a better voice than some people who sing very poor renditions of really good Disney songs. What? Not the... anyway.
Bro, I'm not sure why you're calling both of us out on that one. Like,
I was gonna say, I mean, are we calling the entire chat out? Are we calling our audience out?
No, we're calling out the people who have recently caused a Disney movie to be called a flop!
Which movie?
Shh.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you later.
Interesting.
But, Tyrador, there's something nostalgic about this kind of place. About the way these people live, kind of like as one with nature. The Minotaurs back home don't live like this anymore. Sure, some of you are still nomadic, but you live as nomads apart, not as one with. Many Minotaur, in fact, now just prefer to go into cities and stay there. And many of the tribes worry that it's losing the heritage and losing their roots. I mean, you yourself prefer more of a urban environment. You're not exactly the wild outdoorsman that, some people think you are.
Oh, God, no.
Exactly.
You just face it till it makes it.
I don't have servants anymore.
But
or
at
my
the-
hounds.
Exactly. But at the same point in time, you can see why your people would want this back. If you could achieve something like this back home, it might be fun. There might be something here. I don't know. How does Tyrador feel in this place?
Well, a lack of good food. But I think that could change if enough people came in and decided to try to make good food.
Fair.
I think cultivation could do a long way over here. But other than that, I'm excited. And also, I hate most of the cultures I've come across so far.
Fair enough.
Never before have I hated another culture more. But thankfully, that was an island ago.
I mean,
Out here, though, well, it's distasteful, but it is a lot more manageable.
There are
I'm
less
excited
slaves.
Oh my god, yes.
Significantly less.
Thank goodness.
Uh,
But I am kind of hoping to go on a great hunt, which it seems like we might be able to go towards. Although it seems more like we're getting stuck in plots and schemes of other people right now.
well, as a noble, you know how the game is played.
Oh, and I hate it. Why do you think I go out hunting?
Indeed.
Mostly because you're in a centric asshole?
That's the image I like people to see.
Fair enough.
Quick question: Was Tyrador sitting in the dark when Oliver came out? Because Oliver probably would have come out after Tyrador.
Oh yeah, the stars are nice. I don't want a light on right now.
Well, too bad.
Oh,
Oliver.
well, I'm about to be blinded.
Oliver gets some loose wood, some dry wood, and use produce flame to start a campfire, and then is druid crafting little plants into it to feed the flame.
And you are watching this as Oliver has kind of taken refuge in the fire pit, the central
Mhm.
fire pit. And you can see Oliver just sitting there, druid crafting a seed here, and flower there, and tossing it into the flames.
I'm sure you can imagine the sound of the little plant as it's come into being, screaming in agony as it burns back into nothingness.
And if you happen to catch a glimpse of one of the plants that she's druid crafting, they're shaped awfully humanoid-like.
Hmm.
Again, the sounds of the screams that only the druids can hear.
Remember, wherever there's trees, you are never alone. I can't tell if that's supposed to be encouraging or a warning. That is entirely up to the trees.
Another thing that everyone should remember. Hey, you know that smell that so many people love, that fresh cut grass smell? That is the smell of grass crying out for help and telling everyone around it that it's being murdered.
You're all monsters! The vegans are the real monsters here!
Oliver would never cut grass.
No, just make little people out of it and burn it.
Mm-hmm. He gets it. He's with me.
Mr. Wolfenstein there, I hate to point out the obvious to you, but I think your brothers both might be a little unhinged as people.
Gee, it's almost like you're my brothers. I keep telling people that craziness is a legitimate disease that can legitimately spread through continuous contact. And looking at the world we live in, can anyone really tell me I'm wrong?
Oh.
God, this place doesn't. It sucks that this place doesn't have s'mores. Brent, I demand a plant that can be cooked like a s'more and taste like a s'more. Or a marshmallow.
Okay.
Who else
Thank
wants to have s'mores when we all meet up next week?
Dude,
You know what?
you know what?
Campfire would be nice.
Dude, good luck with that. Most of Tahoe
What?
is in, like, no fire warnings.
True. I mean,
But
well,
anyway.
It's only illegal.
Callie's
if you
got a
catch
gas
it.
stove.
I do.
Oh,
There you
I'm all for indoor s'more making. I am all for s'more making. Like, let's not say, let it never be said that, Dr. Wolfenstein has ever turned down a s'more. Because I haven't.
You just you get a couple shish kebab sticks and turn on the gas stove and yeah.
I'm all for it.
I
But
mean, I got a
anyway.
blowtorch though. It's pretty much the same effect. I mean, I really do. It's don't.
I mean, yeah, no, I'm gonna be entirely honest. Yeah, I got a kitchen torch to make creme brulee, and I've used it more to make s'mores and shit than I have anything else.
Yeah, as one does.
Anyway. Teardor, do you go investigate why Oliver is throwing plant people shapes in the fire?
Yeah. Can I pick one up?
In the fire?
No, I mean one that you're holding. Can I just grab one and throw it in?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, just grab one. Like,
Max
just walk up
looks-
suddenly,
Oliver-
grabs one, tosses it in the fire after looking at it for a second.
When you pick it up, Oliver is a little bit startled, almost like she's kind of jolted out of a stupor.
I'm sorry, the screams of the plant people were keeping me occupied.
Shh.
She's staring at you now, Teodor.
Did you not want me to toss that one in?
No, that's okay. Do you hate them too?
I don't know what they are.
She looks one over. I thought I made them pretty well. I tried to make humans. I'm not sure exactly what they look like.
Can I look at it? What does it look like? The one I had picked up.
I don't. How much does she know about what humans look like? I don't imagine she's met one before. She's lived her entire life in the nest.
So, you've heard of... You obtained a book recently.
Yeah, yeah. Did that have any?
It
Like-
had a depiction of
Oh,
the
okay.
father deity they call Crawl. It had a depiction of him. But not much else, to be frank.
So I'm sure that did he have like a set of armor on and stuff?
So, no, actually. So, the depiction of Crawl, actually, I have art! I have art!
Yay!
I didn't think I would be showing you this picture so soon, but I did hand you the book. So, allow me to break something open real quick. I
Because
have
thanks
art!
to the magic of AI art generation.
Everybody who subscribes should definitely go check out Midjourney AI. It is a Discord AI, and it works fantastic. In fact,
It runs better than any other ones I've seen.
Oh, you've used it?
No, but it shows you creations as like a bunch of random creations that people have come up with,
Yeah,
and
that's
gives
true.
you like what they chose as their things. Like if you're looking for a free one, I'd say like Night Cafe is a good one to try and get to learn. It's not too rough, but it doesn't come out with anything nearly as amazing as this.
By the way, this, for everyone at home and for everyone in the game, make sure that the handout showed up for you. This is Crawl, the father.
Daddy, sorry. Daddy, sorry. Daddy, sorry.
So they're probably like thick stick figures trying to like imitate the muscles.
Are we talking like thick with like 3 C's or?
2 C's? 2 C's of thickness, I think. So the standard.
Okay, so not quite
Metric.
as thick as a bowl of oatmeal, but about
Nope.
as thick as a Snicker.
Yeah. Thick snicker thickness. Yep.
I couldn't help it. Well, then you just take your point of inspiration and shut the fuck up about it. Shit.
And it's gonna have like some like spindly sproutlings coming out of the top to try and imitate the hair, but not a ton of detail beyond that.
You
Oh.
good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm cool. I'm fine.
I know I had a shit-eating grin on my face the entire time.
I'm still smiling like a fucking moron. But anyway. So, Theodore, that's what you see.
Okay. I don't know if they truly look like this. Or how to feel about them yet, but everything we've heard about them has been unpleasant.
I know exactly how to feel about them. They remind me of everything that I hate about the nest. They think everything wild is just there for their taking.
Wonder what their lands look like.
There was also one other depiction, actually, now that I'm sitting here thinking about it. In the book, it had Kroll, but it also had his wife. I need to add her image to this. So it's a little different. Theodore, do you have any points in religion?
Let me double check.
Oliver, I'm not even going to offer this to you because it would basically
No, I have -1.
Alright. I don't know that anyone does have any points in religion. And the one person who does not come from here would not know it. So. This is a depiction of their of their goddess, the wife of Kral, known as the Mother.
Well, at least there isn't a red chain around his neck.
This is Rhea the Mother.
Mommy, sorry. Mommy, sorry.
Oliver, go ahead and make me a religion check. You at disadvantage, though.
Yes, sir.
You know this picture is familiar, but you also know that the name is wrong. You've seen it, you know that the picture, but you also know that that's not the name. Though you're not sure how you know or why you know that. But...
I think...
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, it's okay. I think I could picture their homes. Their homeland. Forests destroyed, replaced with industry. Wild things tamed. The things that I feel are sacred trampled on. At least that's the gist that I get from their wretched book.
I'll pick up another one and throw it in.
Oliver smiles at that.
We're not friends.
That's okay. We don't need to be friends to have the same enemy.
Agreed.
And as you guys are sitting there, you actually, as night wears on, you become comfortable. Eventually you would either grow tired, as adventurers tend to do, or you would just call it quits for the night. At some point you might toddle off to sleep, or at the very least to something else. This place, it doesn't seem to let you keep anger for long. Despite the various justifications, the longer you're breathing in this calming air, the easier it is to forget. But as you leave, what none of you really notice, as your minds are on other things, and for some of you it's on this enemy that has come, and this plight of the wolf people. For some of you, it's on homes that you have, or homes that you wish could be. What you don't notice is that there is still one little owl person still awake, having only just recently finished her work. Altera, as you are finishing your work, you're getting ready to turn in for the night, and you swear you see something glittering gold inside the depths of the water. It is very faint illumination, enough to catch your eye, but not enough to really be blinding. But it is gold in color.
How deep does the water appear to be?
You can't see the bottom.
So it's not, it isn't on the bottom of on the bottom of what I can see. It does seem to be floating.
You can just see this light coming from the water.
I'm going to get closer to the water and sit down and try and investigate a bit.
So as you sit down at the water's edge of this pool, you are looking, and there seems to be a shape glittering within the water. You could almost reach out and touch it.
And I will, or at least try to.
As you reach out, it's a little deeper than you thought. Maybe if you, and then what the rest of the world would see, if there was anyone to observe, is Auria simply sinking and slipping beneath the water's surface. As she does so, something interesting occurs. You find yourself swimming through a sea of yellow and gold stars. You find yourself moving through this place as if it were natural, as if you weighed nothing. It's almost like flying, but not quite as peaceful. However, even so, you still find your way through it, and eventually you find yourself hovering in one spot. And before you is this golden light that you were so attracted to in the first place, this miraculous aura. And all you hear is this deep, booming voice. Ah, so I have reached out to another. I had hoped to find the young prince, but it seems in my haste I found one who is not of my people. Not that I mind. And you watch as something comes up and greets you. You see the gold take on a regal shape. It first forms a body or breastplate made of solid gold. It then begins to soften and become fur, and it continues to take the shape until you see this creature standing before you in this void. And as you're staring into the eyes of a lion who is many times taller than the tallest mountain, and whose eyes are liquid pools of gold, he looks at you with amusement. You are one of the flying children. Strange that I would find one of your kind in my hunting grounds, but I have no qualms with those of flight and feather. And I think you may be able to help me yet.
The lion, the great one? Your lands are as magnificent as always and to be expected. May you and yours always have good hunts.
Haha, someone who knows courtesy. Even rarer for your flighty kind, after all. You have not stuck around any one place for too long, but thank you. However, I am in need of assistance, and I think you can offer it to me.
Tell me what I can do. I'm sure me and my fellows could always find something that we could help.
My lands need to be reclaimed. My lands need to be mine again. The Pride lands are not named for the prides of Leonin, that are children of my children, made in mine image, after the god Mantu came to this world. It is named for my pride. The pride I had when I was the guardian of these lands, when I walked among my children, protecting all who lived amongst my fields, my plains, my rocks, my rivers, mine. The Pride Lands is where I rested, where I laid my head, and where the future of my people was to be born. I had left it in the Leonins' care, as they were more stable than my true children. The Leonin were capable stewards, though they would never be the true rulers, as I have never given up anything that belongs to me. But after the death of Elephant, which, while regrettable now, was necessary at the time, my people needed something to hope for, something to unite them. I gave them the Great Manes, those gifted with the beauty that is my fur, the great mane of kings. He says as he flicks his head, and it's almost like you can hear thunderous applause and the adulation of a citizenry who is in love with their ruler, for he is noble, he is just, and he is good. And yet, at the very edges, you can also hear another melody. A rather discordant melody. You would swear it is the screams and it is the wails of those who suffer under tyrants. As both may be great kings. Presently, though, as his mane stops and the cacophony of noise also ceases, he looks at you. This usurper is plaguing my lands. He does not know it. He does not know it yet, but he is delivering my very seat into the clutches of a god who was long since forgotten, and who should stay that way. One of the Forgotten Ones cannot rule in the Wildlands. It would be death. It would be death to all that we know. You must convince the young prince to forgive himself and his exile, and go and reclaim what is his.
A true prince he does seem to be. Once the way his life is threatened, the people that he has protected becomes truly threatened when the mist begins to recede. When his pride itself is shown, he'll be forced to act. And maybe soon we can get that crown of thorns to be a proper crown. Once we get him to lead all of us in a battle. After all, a king should have knowledge of strategy.
It is not strategy alone that will win him the day. I need you and yours to help, for even a Leonin will fall under the fangs and claws of 100 gnolls. Though it would take that number and more to bring down one of my divine warriors. Even so.
Well, owls' talons can be swift as well, and they will see what it is to have the talons at their throats.
I sense pride in you, rare for one of your kind. I sense a true spirit of nobility in you. Should you succeed in liberating my home from this usurper and from the touch of the forced Forgotten One, then I would allow you in my home away from homes. The oasis is where I came to grieve, where I came to think and plan and see the future. The oasis is where I came to repent my sins and beg the Wild Mother to forgive us for what we had to do. But it was necessary. And while we all regret it now, and wish it could have been different, none of us would make a different choice. He had to be stopped. We stopped him. But the cost was great. Too great. However, I can sense that you have paid a great cost for your own acts. Should you succeed, and should my lands be free, come and stay. There would always be a home for you in my oasis.
Tara's silent at that for a moment, and then looking up. A place I can finally stop worrying about the loss of mine who are already dead.
They are always with you. They will always be with you. But you may find peace here.
I'll take you up on that after I've slit the usurper's throat.
No! It must be him. It must be Leon. For only with his blade, the blade of kings, can I allow my power to flow into my lands again.
Must the usurper fall in an honorable duel?
Yes, he must.
This can be arranged.
There is a small surviving faction of the Great Main Tribe, or Pride as I prefer them to be known. But the Great Mains are my direct descendants. They can trace their blood back to mine and mine alone. It is what has given them the right to rule over the Leonin people. They have believed the usurper's lies about what has happened, about what killed the great king, my dearest champion. Make them understand. Make them believe. I will give you the tool to make them believe, to make them understand, and to awaken the wrath that is within inside the young prince. And with that, he slowly fades into glittering gold and dust. And as he does so, you appear on the bank of the pool, dry completely. To anyone who would observe, it looks as though you just simply appeared there, as if you had never not been there, as if you had always been sitting right there, just looking down into the water. However, at your feet, or rather at your knees as you are sitting on them, you can see a glittering golden crown. A crown that looks like it would fit on a Leonin's head like, well, a glove. And you can see the roaring image of the great lion on the front of it.
I'm going to pick it up and I will stow it away into a bag I keep on my person. And now resolving not to sleep. I gotta see where Leon went and laid down, yeah?
Yeah, you got to see where he went.
Cool. I'm gonna go and I'm basically gonna perch up nearby him.
As you approach, and as you perch up, are you being stealthy about it?
Yes.
Roll me a stealth check, if you please.
That'd be a 22.
You're able to sneak up just fine. But one thing you're able to see is that Leon is not sleeping peacefully. He is tossing, he is turning, you can hear him muttering no in his sleep over and over. He is clearly having a nightmare. Something horrible from the desperation in his voice. Something very traumatic. You are used to such things, as you yourself are not immune to such. But as you're watching, and eventually he surges awake, draws the blade, and looks around as if he is ready to fight an enemy. And when he sees there is none, he exhales deeply and slowly returns the blade to resting against the tree.
The nightmares haunt you too, young prince?
He snaps awake, surges to his feet, and looks up at you, the blade already in hand. Oh, forgive. You've startled me.
Tara is kind of staring off towards the water where she just had this encounter. I understand the nightmares. I get them too. My parents were slaughtered long ago. And then I came home to find my brother. Dour times and dour topics. But it's nice to know you don't deny being the prince.
He frowns as he kind of looks down. I do not lie. It is against my... I am better than that.
We all have a burden to bear, and yours is great. That crown of thorns that you keep wearing, though, I think it's time that you find a new pace.
And
If
how...
the usurper keeps up, everything will crumble. These people will follow you, especially if you are given the right motivation. As I toss the crown over to him.
He catches it, and as he catches it, he looks at it, and he looks up at you, and you can see his eyes are glittering gold in the light, as you can hear the anger. Where did you get this?
What do you know of this oasis? Because I just learned a great deal.
And he looks around. I must admit I don't know much. I merely know that what the elders once said, and that aside from a few people who have left to seek out the world and to explore it, no one really leaves. Everyone seems to find peace here. And that it is a place where those who wish to forget, be forgotten, or need to find a home after losing one, can come.
I would not say forgotten is the right word. Forgiven is a better one. The old ones, the great ones, are still here. And Lion sends his regards to the place where he has come for forgiveness himself.
What on earth could the great king be forgiven for?
What could anyone be forgiven for? Everything and everyone has their downfalls. Remember your own story and where it has led you now. Even the greatest of beings have found themselves in these same situations. The choices we make now are what will shape the future. And if you make the wrong choice now, the usurper will bring the world to the ground.
He looks at the crown. He clutches it a little tighter. Where did you get it? Speak plainly.
Lion just gave it to me myself. It's interesting when the great ones call for their own and find someone of a similar ilk. But now I have a vested interest in this even more so. Yes, I wish to see the nest burn. But Lion has offered me something that I could never ask more of. He has offered me a home. He has offered me a peace. And he has told me that for us to all achieve what we must, and for me to have my peace, you must slay the usurper in a duel.
Never make it. Besides, I would have to have a clan to challenge even a king. My pride will not take me back. Not after what I did.
But the great men will, when they are given proof of who you are.
And how do you know that?
Are you going to question the words of the great king yourself?
You see him kind of flinch. I would never...
I have no reason to lie. My life has been full of nothing but strife. I have fought in wars since I was young. I have seen everything I've cared about die. I entered a state of psychosis because I couldn't accept my brother was gone. All I have to gain now is what he has offered me. And if I must help you lead, then so be it. Stop being a prince and become the king that you are. And you can call me your dagger that strikes from the dark.
I need you to strike from the dark. I just need you to strike. There are too many knolls between me and him.
That can be arranged.
He looks at the crown. I suppose that I always knew it would happen. That I would have to die or rule. I've never been one for dying. My father always made death sound like a hunt that you lost.
You don't seem to be like a loser to me.
No, never liked it much.
Well, I'm sure we still have some time to gather what we must. But we also may want to start gathering our allies. At your word, my king.
He looks at the crown another moment, and then he puts it on. We leave in the morning. You need rest. If your friends would help, I would have them.
I'm sure they will.
Very well then. We start with the pack who caused all of this. The River Fangs. They need to go. And I know how to do it. And with that, he kind of turns away from you and looks off into the fog. Get some sleep.
And Altera is going to take the spot where she has perched as her sleeping spot.
In the morning, as the sun rises, you all wake up from your various states of slumber. And as you do, there is a noticeable difference in the mood today. The oasis seems energized. That was the word I wanted. You can feel the energy here. Almost as if it's a living, breathing thing that has seemed to have charged the forest. Oliver, you are, of course, the first one to pick up on that. Yuki, the scent has subtly changed. In fact, it's a scent that puts you on edge because it is that of a much larger, much fiercer predator. It is musk, blood, and fury. Scents that are not normally associated with good things, and yet you can feel the oasis kind of basking in these scents. Very odd for you to sense that from just a scent alone, but it's a powerful scent.
I don't. Yuki, just click. Getting her little rifle out.
Theodore,
She's just not comfortable with that, even if this little grove enjoys it.
oh yeah, Theodore, this is like the anticipation before a good hunt. With your dogs and your servants, it's that thrill you get right before you call forth and blow your first breath through the horn.
It's an invigorating sleep I had.
And you all kind of wake up and see that Leon is awake, and he is wearing a crown on his head. But where he got it from, you never know. Altera's not too far behind him, though. And he looks at you. Travelers, may I have a word?
Sure.
I need assistance in the trials I have ahead. The weight of my responsibilities has finally crushed me and brought me to heel. I would ask your aid in retaking my home and the lands that were once mine from the usurper.
Well, I believe that that was what we came to do. Yuki, kind of still holding rifle tightly.
So, are we going after breakfast or before breakfast?
He actually genuinely laughs at that. After, do not worry.
You can't have a proper march on an empty stomach.
I mean, yeah, you can. Oh, you're right. Never mind. You said proper.
I will take my meal here. Yuki looks really unnerved just from the scent of the blood and all that.
Leon kind of nods his head. We have a few things to do before we can attack the usurper directly. I wish to break at least some of his supporting tribes of gnolls, for they are a plague on the Pride Lands. But first, we will go to where it all started. And we will go to where the two great rivers meet and eliminate the leader of the River Fang. With them gone, the northern borders will be open once again. The River Fang are setting their sights on the woods that are not too far from their home. And if they should take those woods, or desecrate them, then I fear what wrath would come out of them. It is known to my people that a great force lingers in the Ursine Woods. I don't know what is there, but I have been told that it is meant to be left alone. And so we leave it. if I am not mistaken, the vicious claws are also nearby. If we can eliminate those two packs of gnolls, then we would put ourselves in a more advantageous position. If we eliminate their leaders, then they will break. The next thing we must get rid of is the Bone Laughers. They may sound an amusing name, and truly, they are the ones who laugh loudest and longest. But they are insane, to put it simply. They are united in their commonality of madness. They are the ones who are devouring even plants that they normally cannot eat. They are the ones who have spread this pestilence that has caused much of the Pride Lands to become a barren wasteland. I do not know if they know what they are doing, but they are a glut. And it is concerning. And finally, if we get to the Pride Lands, we will face off against the last of the Gnoll leaders who remain. Once we arrive at the Pride Lands, though, if what is left of the Great Mane tribe is still alive, what is left of my tribe is still alive, then maybe they will join us.
Well, we have a plan of action then.
Indeed.
The only thing that I have to make sure that we all can honor truly is that the true king here has to slay the usurper.
Yes, he must die at my hands. He must die in the old way, as it were. But he will do everything he can to post foes between us, for he knows that no challenge can be fought on anything but the rock.
So be it. I prefer to set you in a situation that even your death doesn't change things.
If I fail, then these people will need a place to go. They will go to your wall in order to be safe. But if I fail, then there may be much more at stake than even I know.
If I may,
He nods.
I wish to speak to you in private when you are done.
Very well. I do not mind. If any of you have any further requests or any payments that can be made when I am victorious, I shall discuss them with you. I'm afraid I have nothing to give you other than my eternal gratitude and my friendship, should you assist me in this endeavor. At least not now. After all, we might still all die horribly.
If this sets things back to their natural order, that's enough payment for me.
If I am correct, Oliver, if we do not assure this victory, from what I have heard, a greater, older evil may rise. One that would side with Nest and be against our personal goals.
You mean the humans?
I would believe so.
We'll just have to make sure that doesn't happen.
Theodore, you claim anything?
For now, actually, no. I got one big claim. You must, if we are to help you, be a refuge for people to be free.
Ha! There has never been a slave in Leonin lands and in Leonin territories, and I give you my word that should I rule my people, there never will be, and there never will be those who can claim to be owners of people who will walk out of my lands.
Then we have a deal.
If I knew you were going to ask that, Tyrador, I would have told you that it was already a guarantee. You could have asked for the biggest sandwich that you could ever eat.
Is it just a thing that Tyrador can be bought in sandwiches? Are you 625 now?
Look, every character has been influenced by 625, okay? Every character has. You remember Glint, right?
Fair. You always are the snack man.
There is always sandwiches in a campaign.
Yeah. Why? I don't know, but they're sandwiches.
I ain't gonna complain about it.
Has all the same powers as 626, but unfortunately is lazy coward. But makes great sandwiches. Ham or tuna?
Ooh, a good tuna sandwich actually sounds good right now.
Yeah, I prefer an egg salad if I'm gonna pick a salad sandwich.
Yeah,
I
fair
got
enough.
some weird German bologna today.
Well, Does it have a first name?
Tobias is
No,
watching
but it has a PhD.
All right. Dr. Pepper making bologna now.
Bro, I kind of want to make Dr. Pepper barbecue sauce and try it.
I mean, you can make Jack Daniel's barbecue sauce, so. But with that decided, you all eat a hearty meal of more fruits, more insects. Lots of insects around here. And yes, they are slimy, but satisfying.
I mean, it doesn't seem to bug most.
Wow. I don't eat no insects.
No, but there's plenty of fruit. And even some vegetables.
I got David to pause and say wow because of my pun. I have completed my life for the night.
Objective complete.
Objective complete. Good work, men. Wrap it up. God, I can even
There you go.
see the Call of Duty screen for that, too.
I have posted the sausage.
Alright, fair enough. Does this music fit?
Not quite.
It's not quite upbeat enough.
Yeah, well, you know, it's hard to find epic music that's not copyrighted.
I know. That's why I've been working on making more.
Well, hurry it up, will ya?
Just play, like, Aaron's theme from YouTube.
What?
People have been making... The system glitch has been making music because of the Wandering Inn. So it's on YouTube. It's free. I'm fairly sure it's not copyrighted.
Alright, noted. I could play the Hyrule Field music and get this thing copyright into oblivion.
When has Nintendo ever overreacted to anything?
I mean, they're Japanese, it's in their nature.
They totally never, ever have. What are you talking about?
Dude, you can only drop that bomb one more time.
And no, being Japanese doesn't matter. Look at the Dark Souls community; they actually take care of their own. Didn't they give Let Me Solo Her his own plaque?
Yes, they did.
I have
And
no idea.
People have made full-on songs dedicated to him, and they are amazing.
Yeah, they tend to like their people. And guys like Vadi Vadi actually got in a little bit more with them and
I
stuff.
like
you
that
know.
music, but it's not quite the right music. Although I will put it into this because, first of all, it has no copyright, and second of all, it's really good music. Almost like some Age of Empires music. I like
What
it.
music?
It's literally called The Medieval Banquet by Silverman Sound. No copyright. But, as you all finish your eating and finish your... Ooh. That's a little too upbeat for this. Little too whimsy.
But yeah,
That might be more appropriate, though.
because Yuki does have to have a little conversation with our friend here.
Yeah. I get that.
We just hear a gunshot and just casual regicide off on the off screen.
And I think the only other thing is, I also need to kind of find out the results of Yuki doing her alchemical experiments.
No worries. Yeah, I think that's much better. I like it. So, as for your alchemical experiments last night, Yuki, the thing you can determine is that Gobzi is altering her muscle mass by absorbing the space around her. Whether or not it's whether or not it's plant life, inorganic life, or material, she's not creating new matter or muscles. She's absorbing matter and material from around her and putting it into her own body to augment. Kind of the same thing when she gets skinnier and when she is, liquefied. She's displaced matter and material.
The only reason I would argue, Yuki's arguing a little differently is that she seems to be able to use that material. And yeah, she loses some of herself, but it also recovers really quick.
Oh, yes, entirely.
Yeah, so that defies kind of the laws of physics. So that's what she's figuring out.
Well, yes and no. As you're sitting there experimenting with it, your pot, and the tools you're working with, as this part of Yuki expands, they get damaged. And when they are expelled and when it shrinks, you find remnants of stuff that wasn't there before. Now, it's happening at a very small level, but happening over a long enough period of time, it becomes an observable phenomenon. The amount that she requires is not much, and the amount that she displaces is not much. Basically, it amounts to dust that didn't used to be there. She can break it down to very tiny levels.
Yeah.
But it is still, she is absorbing and displacing matter and material.
So there is a finite, basically, Gobzi, as far as I can tell.
So there is what you can understand as a resting Gobzi state, which is a state where she is neither absorbing nor expelling material. You're not sure what that state kind of is, because you don't know if her resting state is the, in the jar kind of thing that she appears to be, or if her resting state is in the walking around globule that she appears to be. That will take more experimentation. But you do know that her altering her physical self, if she makes herself larger or if she makes herself stronger, it is having an adverse effect on the area around her. The more dramatic the effect, the more dramatic the results of the land that she's in contact with.
Well, that's terrifyingly useful. Yuki is going to, I think given her current knowledge of that situation, if the area around it, she's gonna start pursuing how how to amplify that destructive effect.
If I'm putting two and two correctly together on this one, yay for sentient bioweaponry.
Yeah, Yuki is she's got problems back home. Let's just put it that way.
Why am I getting flashbacks to the Witch's Flower movie?
I don't know that I've ever seen that.
It's made by an offshoot of people who were working at Studio Ghibli. It was their first movie. It's pretty good.
So Yuki's gonna write in her notes, must put Gobsy in jar with hole to observe in parentheses.
So you put that in parenthesis.
Yep.
And
And she's just kind of like coming up with like a few theories and stuff, and then yeah, I do have to have a meeting with our lion man. Because
Did you want it after or before you successfully retake his throne?
oh, definitely before.
Okay.
Because it relates to how we're doing this.
Alright, so you find him, and he's not hard to find. He is preparing, sharpening his blade, and you can see that the villagers are packing up rations for him, and some of them are like bestowing little trinkets that obviously are not going to be of use to him, but he still takes anyway because he's, he is the good guy. By all definitions, he is the good. But as you do so, he looks up and sees you.
And Yuki just, with a lot of on her mind, because she's been having a lot of thoughts. And she just kind of, comes over, small little cat form, making sure that she's, in private.
Yeah.
And
he waves a hand and everyone kind of, backs off, and he just kind of looks to you.
She looks a little nervous for a second, and then she's like, you know what really needs to be done, right?
He looks at you. I have my own ideas, but I'm interested in hearing yours.
I say we do not risk... we do not risk you possibly losing. It is my suggestion, and one of any warlord, that we annihilate each of these tribes, down to the last woman and child.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, Yuki is kind of revealing the other side of her.
He simply...
Yuki has just fully recommended genocide of the gnolls.
Full genocide.
He looks at you. And then he looks up. Allow me to kindly reject you, but not without reason. You see, this world that we live in, it is a world of balance, of what is known as a cycle, endless and eternal. Should you remove any part of it, truly remove any part of it, the cycle cannot continue, and then all things will come to an end.
Forgive me for saying, but I do not believe such a thing.
You do not need to believe it to be a part of it. Your body, when you die, will become as dust and earth, and will nurture the next life that comes along. This is the lesson that the great elephant teaches us, that even in death, the energy and life force that you leave behind will power something great. But if you remove all of a life, truly, if you exterminate a piece of the chain, of the great wheel, some have called it, then that part of the wheel can no longer function. And if one part of the wheel breaks, the whole thing will eventually collapse.
Yuki, being as smart as she is, and knowing her knowing her own, her own cultures. No, that has never been true. Cultures have been wiped off the face of the earth. And yet everything continues. I am saying that you do not risk these people, and she motions around to, all the, kind people in this village. You do not risk them. If there is no enemy, if there are no gnolls, whether you win or not at the rock means nothing. They will be safe. If you allow the gnolls to live, if you lose, they will not be safe. There's a very clear answer here. Your responsibility is to them, not to some cosmic order.
He simply chuckles. My responsibility is that of a king, not of a petty despot or a warlord. A king must think of all possibilities and all threats, even ones that are greater than he.
And yet you let this one exist still.
He smiles.
Just being a king does not mean you are a competent one.
No king is competent before the eyes of history. However, you are not now, nor have you ever been a threat to me. For you stand within this glade.
No, I am no threat. Nor am I presenting myself as such. I am merely telling you what is necessary, and what I will do when the time comes down.
He looks at you very calmly.
And Yuki kind of sighs, because even if you don't care for your people here, I've grown fond of them.
His smile gains steel as you say that line.
Mm-hmm.
And you watch as the blade kind of glows in his hand. A king always cares. However, you would remember this. You exist in these lands because I will it.
As you've stated, you are in no position as of now. And Yuki crosses her arms like, yeah, it's like, you're threatening me and I'm your ally.
He kind of chuckles. I may not have a king title yet. However, this oasis is mine to guard against any enemy who would threaten it. And I can choose that enemy.
But
for now, we are
cannot realize
allies.
it's yourself. Yuki says, annoyed.
He lifts his sword a little bit higher. You are quickly going from ally to enemy. I suggest you stop this line of questioning or conversation. For it will lead only to your death and the harder work I must do.
Just kind of looks. So you are just about a petty warlord. And she has like no confidence in him now as a leader. Because he won't do what's necessary and then immediately attack somebody, on his side.
He just laughs. No.
Luckily, your people don't deserve a terrible fate for your bad decisions.
Yes.
I still will not withhold. I will not withhold my offer for them to join me beyond the wall.
He kind of smiles. I cared not if you did, for the thorn paw would take them in. After all, my mother is that one's leader.
Assuming that the humans don't come here first. And she just rolls, like, there is so many threats right near you, and yet you sit here and, you threaten her, and she's like...
He laughs. Oh, to be one without responsibility.
Yuki at that. I have many a responsibility.
He smiles. I'm sure you see it that way.
And
But there-
Yuki just kind of raise your eyebrow. And what do you know of me? You know nothing.
I know you are brash. I know you are bloodthirsty. And I know that there is one above you who commands the authority. You were given authority by someone. I was given authority by blood. This does not make me better than the someone who has authority over you, but it means that they and I operate on a plane of understanding higher than yours. You are a weapon to be wielded. I am the wielder. You can never be more, but you can be less. Think on that. And with that, he leaves.
Prideful alliance. No wonder he screwed up once. Yuki, shouldering your rifle.
But with that, he gathers to the rest of you. Are you ready to begin?
I picture Altera was probably with some of the bit more of the able-bodied ones that are still around and going over just simple self-defense techniques. And at the call, smiles and turns and walks over.
I think I'm good.
Yuki is definitely distraught as she comes back, and one of the cats, hand her like a wiggling what could we say? A bird probably, because birds and mice are on the table.
Yeah.
And hands her a bird, and it's very much like, look what I caught, and Yuki just sighing, kind of, pets the bird. Clearly lost at that. As the little cat then suddenly just jams it in their mouth. And Yuki, you just see her sigh in frustration with these little cats.
Ah.
And then this cat with cheeks moving because there's a bird in it as they're chomping away, just gives the cat a scritch and looking at the rest of you like, okay, let's get on with this.
And as you guys gather around, and as you make ready, he looks to the elder, who is an old boar, and he looks. I knew you would leave the day you came to us, young one. I just thought that day was a lot farther off. Elder, I promise that I will return. And when I do, you shall be reunited with your family once again. If any still live, I would be grateful. But for now, focus on the surviving part of that, young one. I didn't have my son bring a half-dead Leonin child into this oasis so that he could, die a horrible death. He then looks to the rest of you. Do be sure to keep this one safe. At times he may be stubborn, but he has a good head.
Yuki is so annoyed with this because she finds quite the opposite. And he later just said, oh, because blood, I'm better, basically. Instead of an actual reasoning, she's just you just see her, roll her eyes a little bit. Usually very respectful and friendly, but right now she's so flustered with this guy.
With a bit of a look over, a glance over in Yuki's direction, Altera will give a chuckle. We know about stubborn allies.
But with that...
The funny thing is, with you guys, she's been perfectly admissible.
And yet, with every leadership she runs into, she seems to make an enemy.
She actually got along with Zarafi.
That's because Zarafi offered something that could
She got
be
around
sold.
with Zarafi and Prince. But yeah, she doesn't care for these guys because they're not so worldly focused. The cosmic order is just not doing it for.
Um,
Seems
present-
like an excuse.
Presently, though, he looks to everyone. He looks to all of you, and then looks to the family he's leaving behind. Well, let us be off. And with that, he leads you out of the mists. And it does take some time. You realize that the mists seem to have grown in size, at least for now. Though you know that that is not necessarily how it will stay. You have learned that these mists are ever-changing, and are oddities. But, as you guys exit from them, doesn't take you long before you can see that the desolate wasteland that has been the Pride Lands fills the space. And you enter it. He looks around and just shakes his head. I remember when this was a grassland. The usurper has much to answer for. Well, this way then. And he heads forward, leading you guys towards the north. As he does, the area first gets... Excuse me. There's a smell that kind of permeates the area. And the first thing you notice is that it's the smell of damp and earth and water. Takes you only about a third of the day before you reach the riverbed. And remember, he said these were two great rivers. And sure enough is that there was a river that crossed between here and the Thornlands. However, that river was less. It seemed to be drying up. It seemed to not be, quite as big or flowing as it could have been. Yet it was still deep enough in many places. And it was also still somewhat clean. This water is not, by any stretch of the imagination, what anyone would call clean. In fact, the water is black. The liquid and banks are so dark, murky, and muddy that it's almost impossible to see where the water begins and where the bank begins. It is very clear that something is wrong with this water. And Leon does look to you. Do be careful. Make sure that you don't drink the water here, for it is no longer pure. Salmon has likely left away from it.
Good thing everything is in order then. Yuki says, kind of, crossing her arms again.
What'd you say there, Oliver?
Oliver asked, are they pooping in it?
He shrugs. I do not know. I just know that this river is clearly sick. Water normally flows clean and clear in the Wildlands. The powers of some of the wild ones keep it so. Salmon and otter chief among them. But it seems that whatever they are doing is causing it to run sick. And with that, he leads you along the river.
While we're traveling, I'm gonna saddle up to Yuki. Is there any, wait, you're in your cart, right?
Yuki would be.
Is there anybody else already in the cart?
Probably just the cats.
Oh, okay. She's gonna take the seat next to you.
Yuki is cleaning her rifle. You've seen her do this like 2 other times today. The rifle is clean.
Oliver's just kind of staring at you for a couple of seconds.
What
Did
do you
he,
need, Oliver?
Did he not like your perfumes?
Mm. No.
Hmm.
She kind of looks a little, like, saddened for a second. And she's trying to put it into words on, like, how to explain it to you. Because, they understand kind of how you think a little bit.
Mhm.
And... Oliver,
Yes.
do you see this sick water?
Mhm.
It'd make an awful perfume, no?
Mm, I'm not sure what it smells like, but my guess would be no.
Rotted, disgusting. Not everything is okay in this land, yes?
Yes.
So we should do something about it. And she kind of, that is why we have a difference of opinion. Motioning over to, our lion friend.
That's why he doesn't like your perfume?
Yeah, Yuki actually agrees to that.
Well, Oliver is
Oliver
somehow wholesome ass
is-
looking.
Tilting her head like 90 degrees, completely befuddled by this.
Some
Civilized folks
words,
never-
like smell. Oh, some words are like a smell. There's unpleasant ones, sharp ones. You see?
Sharp words.
Mm.
Like magic?
Yuki kind of considers that thought. No, I'm afraid not this time.
Hmm. Well, I think we are doing something about the poop water.
Allow
That's
me to put it
Where
this
we're
way.
going, isn't it?
Of course. You can leave a job half done, though.
Hmm.
You see,
A seed planted and not fertilized.
exactly. A task can be left unfinished, done incorrectly. And let's say that it's a harmful plant that thrives, like a weed, and it chokes out everything else. Do you allow the weed to continue, or do you just, allow everything else to die? Both are part of a natural order, but, I know which one I will pick.
It makes me sad to see beautiful plants strangled by weeds. But that's from a skewed perspective.
Of
There
course.
can be beauty in all things,
Agreed entirely.
especially things that are purely natural without ulterior motives.
Of
Things
course.
the way that they should be.
But who determines that?
Hmm.
And Yuki just kind of smiles. And you see her, like checking her powder, and then just putting the gun aside.
I'm not sure.
Well, he says he is king. So he gets to decide, no?
Kings
And
are
your nest
fictitious
is
things.
powerful.
Things
Okay.
made up by civilizations.
Mm. I
They
agree.
make claims to things that they don't own.
I agree even more. And Yuki just looks That man is as bad as the nest, just in his own way.
Hmm. Have you been to the nest?
I've heard of it, but I've never been.
This is one thing I think I can say I understand better than you right now. That man is nothing like the nest.
No. And Yuki just goes, kind of acknowledging that, yeah, she's never been in this. Evil comes in different varieties. And Yuki's
Oliver,
just kind of going back to her perfumes while she's listening. She's just,
Oliver's twisting one of the little stick people in her hand and staring at it for a minute, and then looks over at Yuki. I think you're doing one of those things that people do. You're talking in riddles. We're not talking about your perfume, are we?
you're quite clever, Oliver. She says, smiling. But the smile is a hurt one. Because Yuki kinda has a plan on what's gonna be going down.
I understand if you don't want to tell me what it is, but you told me that we're friends.
And friends don't have secrets from one another? She says, cocking her head, at the spy.
He did admit he's a spy, in all fairness. He told
To
you
be
all that
fair,
straight up.
but Yuki doesn't believe that he's been entirely forthright either.
I've never spoken half
Or
truths.
she, sorry, Oliver.
I don't speak half truths.
You cannot say something, though.
I could, but I don't think there's anything that I haven't said.
Hmm.
You know the reason that I do what I do. You know everything about what I do.
And Yuki kind of acknowledges that, at least thus far, you've been, forthright. Kind of weighing it in both of her paws,
Mm-hmm.
Actually, imagine she's sitting there looking at her paws and you can see them moving.
Yes, that's exactly the motion I was doing.
I'm just picturing the whole making biscuits just reversing up in the air.
Yeah. Yeah, poor Yuki. Oliver,
Yes.
these gnolls have to die.
Oliver
That's the way she just puts it. Just straight up tells him what's on her mind.
Oliver narrows her eyes and makes prolonged eye contact with you.
And Yuki stares back. She's fully committed to this.
You're doing it again.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
The bloodlust that you hold down, it's coming out.
You must
I've seen
understand, Oliver, that the whole reason all these people have suffered is because problems aren't dealt with properly. As you've stated, a tree without fertilizer.
You twist my words.
No.
I speak of life. You speak of death.
They are one and the same. For
They are
something to
tied to one
thrive,
another.
something must die.
You're not wrong. For his people to come back, we must thwart these usurpers. But to defeat an enemy is not the same as eradicating a people.
If you eradicate a people, they will never be a problem again. Given what they've told me, there's a history here. An ongoing conflict. A cycle, to use his words. Motioning over to our lineman.
And what if your people were someone's enemy?
they would annihilate us to the last. Yuki
The
says
wrong
this,
money.
and then her face falls like she's remembered something. And you just see the hurt.
You speak the words of the nest.
Well, the nest is successful, no?
You consider that success?
Sadly. Have they not run off a god or two? Do they not control so much of the world? They are evil, yes. But they are winning.
You see something in Oliver that you really haven't seen before. A glint of anger in her eyes, and the stick figure that she's holding begins lighting on fire.
Yeah, you see. Yuki, ah!
That is not victory. To spit on what is natural. To defile. It is a disgrace. If that is the victory that you seek, I pray that I do not see you to achieve it.
And Yuki just says, kind of looks, and then sighs. Well, good thing we're friends, right? And she just kind of goes back and picks up her rifle, cleaning it yet again.
Oliver just says, victory isn't the end. What comes after matters too.
True. Yuki is acknowledging that, yeah, what you do after is very important. And she just kind of, goes, she's cleaning her rifle.
The ends of the little stick figure have caught fire, and Oliver didn't notice that it was on fire, goes, and tosses it out the cart.
It was a good trick. Please don't do that near the powder.
Didn't know I did.
Yuki back to her self, quotations.
This new feeling, I'm not familiar with it yet.
Righteous anger is scary in its own right.
I don't know that word. Righteous.
Justifiable? Yuki says with a question mark.
Mhm.
Everyone can be right, is the way Yuki kind of puts it.
I don't think that I could justify my hatred for the humans, but I feel it nonetheless.
At the end of the day, my friend, all that matters is what we do. And I have a feeling you would do terrible things if you see these humans. Just as I will do terrible things. And she just kind of acknowledges, the situation. Kind of motioning to, the river,
Oliver just nods.
It is similar.
Oliver, as you see the river, as she points to it, you swear you could see a faint, sickly, pinkish glow spread through the waters. but it is quickly swallowed up by the black sickness that has taken root in this water source. And with that, we will go ahead and end today's session. I would like to thank my fantastic role players today. Fantastic, good work all around. And yeah, this was a little bit of an interesting one.
Characters making plays.
Indeed.
Drawing their lines in the sand now.
Never before have I been so intimidated by a member of our party.
The first time Altera has finally admitted to knowing that their family is all dead.
Yeah.
Character
Yeah,
growth.
everyone is.
Yep, character growth, character... I don't know if I'd call anything else growth, but character development, let's say. You can't call what either Oliver or Yuki's feeling is character or growth.
Yeah, it's more like character
just-
reveal.
Yeah, character reveal, character development.
Trauma.
Character unbridled rage.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely a development for Oliver, because Oliver didn't really have strong emotions at first.
Yeah.
That at least has been seen.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I will
her
say
time spent around civilized people is definitely affecting her.
I will definitely say that it's character development for Oliver and character revelry for Yuki. But I love it. It's great, and this is why I do what I do, because telling these great stories this way and, getting to have fun playing a game is why all of us play D&D, honestly, or at least it should be. And, of course, I couldn't do this without my fantastic cast of characters. They are a little small today. Unfortunately, Eric had to dip out to deal with some personal things, but we wish him well. But, of course, we have our fantastic role players and our just amazing bunch of players in general. Please let me introduce them to you, if you haven't already met them before. We have my brother Mason, another VTuber known as Crowlot. You could go find him here on Twitch and on other platforms. He is playing Auria, our Owlin Scout.
Hi, everybody. I wasn't expecting to be a major plot point today, but here we are.
Yeah.
Does anyone expect to be major plot points in my stories? Do they really? Am I getting
Sometimes.
predictable?
We
No,
are kind of the
spec-
characters, so yeah, at some point.
Specifically with me, because you'll usually confide in me with some random bits and pieces that most others don't hear. So, yeah.
Oh, we
Way
can
to
fight
rub it
it.
in.
We can fight it in this. This was already discussed. You just didn't understand why or what was happening. Also, I can fight in you too, Matt. Shut up.
I don't know. I just don't rub it in.
Hey,
I don't brag about it.
Do you want to show me another wound so I can rub more salt?
Is it kosher? Because it has to be kosher. Speaking of, though, we have Mr. Matt Mochi, our Minotaur Hunter.
Hello. I am enjoying sandwiches, and I wish I had a sandwich in real life right now. That'd be delicious.
Sandwiches do sound good.
All
That
right,
is
Matt, I'm going to just start calling you 625 from now on. That's just
He's-
officially
okay.
your name.
He's
I
still
will-
saved in my phone as 625 ever since the Glint thing started.
Look, if okay, I gotta say, if Discord hadn't gotten rid of the number feature, which I prefer over the Twitter naming scheme, I would just change my numbers to 625.
Nice. That's freaking hilarious.
I would.
Of
I
course,
would talk a lot of smack about that sandwich thing, but remember I did play Whisper
oh
or
yeah,
Whiskers.
I
and her
remember
whole thing with
Whiskers
chickens,
and your
so-
fucking chickens.
Yeah,
Oh,
so-
by the way, I forgot to tell you, Duke's brother destroyed your chicken coop, and he's actually really pissed off about that.
So, because of the way the lore went, have him be raided by rats. Have his lord have a rat infect.
Oh, there's plenty of fun stuff to go on there.
Yeah, because Whiskers is still here, kind of.
At any
She
rate,
won the Game of Thrones among mice.
At any rate, we have, of course, the lovely Callie Cat playing Yuki, a mere seller of sense, who is our samurai.
A mere seller of genocide.
What
No.
scent is your genocide today?
Here's the problem with all this. All this conflict, all this fighting. If they had the will to get it done, then this would no longer be a problem.
Yeah, except you were already called out on the fact that that's the nest thinking.
It is! And like Yuki said, and the nest is winning.
But
There's
are they
also
really?
the simple thought that
They
goes
are right now, actually, in the lore.
If Auria had heard any of that conversation, one of the first things that would have been out of the mouth is, expect a child to take control of a situation that they are too small for. Kittens must know much about that.
Well, here's the thing. Is she wrong? I mean, given the lore you've given me as a DM, no, Nest is super powerful. There's chinks in the armor, sure, but like, given the exact current setup.
Oh, you know.
Yeah,
So much lore.
yeah.
But anyway. And last but
Like I said, I don't think she's wrong.
last but certainly not least is my brother, Mr. David, who is playing our sweet little, I believe you're also an owlin. Yeah, you are strictly an owlin. Oliver, our wilds druid.
Not sure I fully understand this righteous rage, but it feels really good to burn these little stick people.
Can I just state this now that, like, David and I had no conversation about both being owls or anything about any of this beforehand.
Mhm.
We both just decided to go and decide, yeah, owls are going to be mentally unstable.
That's true. Both of you
very
are
accurate.
fucking bonkers for your own reasons and your own source. But yeah, no. I guess it's just canon. Owlin in this setting are prone to bouts of mental instability.
They're unhinged.
I'm okay with that. That's actually an interesting world lore. But for those of you still watching, you can see on screen the three deities: Lion, the Great King; Kral, the Father; and Rhea, the Mother, who may not be as she seems. However, I want to thank all of you guys so much for watching. Please definitely go check out Valor as a TTRPG system. Please support me if you feel the desire or inclination to. Please support me on Patreon, or if simply you can't afford to financially, which I certainly understand, drop a like, drop a follow, follow me on Twitch, follow me on YouTube. I have way more interesting stuff coming down the turnpike. And of course, there will always be more content, and someday soon, you guys may get to vote on the campaign we run. This particular Thursday campaign, though, honestly, I think I will just continue to run games in my world of Auria until I have expelled it from my system and finished the world to my liking.
And don't worry, soon enough we'll also figure out how to get a proper Twitter up and running, so you all can actually put in some questions of your own if you so choose.
Yep, soon enough. But in the meantime, I want to thank you all so very much for joining us in this fine operating room today, as I am your King of the Wilds, Dr. John Wolfenstein, and we will see you in the next operation.